So, the next Prime Minister will either be a bigot, racist scumbag who only thinks of himself, or a bigot, racist scumbag who only thinks of himself. Okay, so these being the only two options, of course, the Conservative Party isn't taking an inward look at itself, it is attacking credible opposition. Now, I have a lot of issues with Jeremy Corbyn and how he's handled Brexit. I, of course, am a Remainer. But Jeremy Corbyn is still the best option out of all the possible candidates. And the Conservatives know that, which is why they have started the attacks on Corbyn yet again. Theresa May just today released a tweet and a little snippet of Prime Minister's Question Times where she condemned Jeremy Corbyn because, my God, look at what he's done to his own party. Imagine what he would do to the country. Okay, well, let's look at what Theresa May has done to her party. How divided they are. My God, half of them were stabbing her in the back. She was saved again by the Lib Dems in a vote of no confidence. The others couldn't even vote for her horrible Brexit deal, despite the fact that it gave most people everything they wanted, except for the most staunchest of Brexiteers, because of course they don't want to pay a fair share of tax. Now let's look at what she and her party have done to the country. In 9 years, police dramatically slashed, NHS dramatically slashed, education to the point where schools around the country now frequently protest because they can't stay open for 5 full days. Teachers going on strike, junior doctors going on strike. The Windrush scandal, of course the Windrush scandal. Child poverty going through the fucking roof. Food banks. The demand for food banks has got to the point where it should sicken every single elitist piece of crap in this country. Armed forces being slashed. We are now America's little puppet. Foreign relationships with people who were our allies tarnished because of the most prominent candidate to be the next Prime Minister and all of his little buddies. Public resources, public sector cuts, austerity grown beyond any acceptable means. And yet Theresa May comes out and says, no, well, Corbyn's a racist. Is he? Because over and over again we see the same things play out. He's a racist because he condemned the right-wing government of Israel when they murdered children for no goddamn reason. But the Conservatives, man, they can sit down with the head of Saudi Arabia who is murdering children like crazy, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I mean, hell, they even murdered and cut up Jamal Khashoggi, and yet the Conservative government, Conservatives including Theresa May, still nothing but fanboys. There is anti-Semitism, an issue with anti-Semitism in the Labour Party because the Labour Party is so damn big. So of course you are going to have people who are dickheads in any party. But it does get resolved in the Labour Party. Not nearly as much as it should, but it does get resolved bit by bit. Can you say the same for the Conservatives? No. Reports of anti-Semitism, of sexual harassment, of rape, of child rape, of Islamophobia, of pretty much everything you could condemn a person for. Is that being sorted in the Conservative Party? No, it's not. It's being covered up because they're Conservatives, and it's one rule for them and another rule for Labour, because Labour could actually take the seat. There is nothing more terrifying to these people right now than Jeremy Corbyn, because Boris Johnson is a monster. Jeremy Hunt is a monster. Theresa May has been a disgusting excuse of a Prime Minister. And for 9 years, we have had consistent Conservative Tories. Now, the division in Labour comes because a lot of Labour people were Tony Blair's Labour. Tony Blair was a Conservative who wore red. He's essentially the difference between Coca-Cola and Diet Coke. Neither one is good for you, but you have this impression that one is better than the other. But Corbyn is not a Tory, and that terrifies them. Now, there's a lot of issues with Jeremy Corbyn, don't get me wrong, but the issues that they're picking at, they're not really issues. And if you start looking at the Conservative Party, everything they've done, everything they're doing, and everything they actively go out of their way to hide, well, that's the real problem. But hey, why let facts ruin a good grudge?